Welcome, Doug Heikkinen with Advisorpedia, and I'm here today with a financial services media legend, Suzanne Siracuse, who now has her own consulting company. Welcome, Suzanne.
Well, thank you for saying that I'm a legend. I really appreciate that.
You are.
And it's great to be here, and it's great to see you, and it's great to be in person.
I know, it's wonderful. Why did you pick media way back when you did, and financial services media when there really wasn't such a thing?
So the story goes is when I graduated from college in the late 80s, I actually wanted to write commercials. That's what I wanted to do for a living. And I realized when you graduated college, you couldn't go right into writing commercials. So you had to start somewhere. So I actually started selling advertising. So that was kind of how I got into media, and then realized that I was pretty good at it. Worked in Philadelphia for 8 years, moved to New York, and started working at Pensions and Investments, which is the institutional side of the business, which is my connection to how I ended up helping to launch Investment News in 1998. The publisher of Pensions and Investments, Bill Bison, who you know, because we met with him years and years and years ago, when he decided to launch Investment News, he asked me if I wanted to be part of the launch team, and it is like one of those decisions that is still like one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Well, you started that business and you set your sights high, really high, of the job you really wanted. How did you ever think that you could attain that job when you started that business?
I think a lot of things have to do, whether you're in financial services media, whether you're an advisor, whether you're in an asset management business, I think you have to have confidence. I think you have to have passion, and I think you have to love what you do and believe in what you do. Authenticity sells because it's true and it's real. And so I think that was part of it. I think I also had a good combination of being able to creatively problem solve, which is part of what marketing is all about.
We met a long time ago when I was running Impact and you were really involved with Investment News. And I remember one time, and media was so different, I called you and said, we don't want Investment News to come to the conference this year. And you're like, well, why not? And I said, because Investment News was running too many negative things about Schwab. And what did you guys do? So we got that a lot. I will tell you, I one day should write a book of how many senior executives called me to say we're not advertising anymore because of the stories that you have written, not me personally, but the reporters. And one of the things that I'm the most proud of is talking these CEOs or senior executives off the ledge and usually doubling down and giving us more business. What we did is we flew immediately out to San Francisco, met with you guys, and actually printed out, and this is how long ago this was, printed out all of the negative stories we had done that year on Schwab and all of the positive stories we had done that year on Schwab. And it was a 50-50 balance. And that was our goal, to prove to you guys that we weren't picking on you. As we always used to say, when you're a leading industry company, the probability that you're going to be reported on, both in a negative and a positive way, is much higher. And so you have a responsibility to address that, to be direct and transparent with reporters, and take the good with the bad. I don't think people realize how innovative you were at Investment News and doing things at conferences that nobody had done before. Like, you were the first ones to buy the room keys. You were the first ones to do room deliveries, weren't you?
Yes, and I forgot about that. But yeah, it's really crazy. But again, it goes back to creative problem solving and drumming up new ways to actually generate revenue with scale. So we were already at these events. We were already, selling advertising into the issues. How else could we leverage where we were and the captive audience we had with different opportunities, marketing opportunities for clients? And so it became a win-win. And honestly, that's a lot of what I do now, is just creatively thinking about ways in a different, taking it from a different angle and applying it and seeing how it works.
So that's the fun stuff with financial services media.
Lots of fun.
But there's the grind. And it was a grind for a long time to start where you started, get where you got to, and then continue the ship forward?
Yes. It was actually, well, thank you. It was harder keeping it than it was getting there. Because when you're getting there, you've got a target, you've got a sight, so you're constantly running. I'm a very competitive person. My team was very competitive. We were very proud of the work that we did, and we got there. And then once you're there, and many of you that you may be watching this that are at the top of your game realize it is harder to stay on top because everybody now is chasing you. It does force you to constantly be challenging yourself to be better than you were yesterday. And it was a lot of fun most of the time and brought us great joy and great success. And I think that we had an amazing team, and they're all doing great things continuously in the industry.
Okay, so being a woman, financial services, media company, you're a trailblazer. Did you feel that weight, or did you welcome it?
So the first job I had in publishing, or first job I ever had, was at the Philadelphia Business Journal. And my boss, who was the director of marketing, was a woman. The director of advertising was a woman, and the publisher was a woman. That was very rare, and I didn't know how rare it was. So I just assumed that was normal. And so that really set the stage for seeing it to be it. Like, you got to see it to be it, or be it to see it. And Mary Huss, who was actually the publisher of the San Francisco Business Times, still, was an amazing role model. It was, I wanted to be her. And that actually gave me a lot of confidence to want to become the publisher one day of a magazine or a newspaper. So I never really kind of thought about it as not normal, to be honest with you.
Good. So let's get to the other side of that. A choice was made to sell it.
Yes.
Something you worked on for so long. You go away. How did that impact you?
So, Crane Communications owned Investment News. They made the decision to sell it. They asked me if I would help them sell it. It was a really interesting challenge. I'd never been involved in anything like that before. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, quite frankly. I had already started to not love what I was doing anymore. Not like to a terrible degree where I didn't want to do it anymore, but I was already thinking about my next step. Mm-hmm. So it came at actually a really good time. Going through the selling of Investment News is experience that I would have never learned some of those skill sets or some of those things that I had to do. So I really am grateful for the opportunity that I had to do it. I made an agreement to be there for 1 year. And I think that if I absolutely loved it, I would have stayed. But it came to that point where I wasn't loving it anymore. And we say this all the time, life is short. You got to do what you want to do. So I tried to carve out the part of the job that I loved and take it with me and actually do it for myself. And it's been, knock on whatever this is, amazing. It's been a great experience. I was very lucky to have made wonderful connections and relationships, and a lot of these companies that I now do business with really trust me, and they had put their faith in me, and I think they seem really happy, and I'm really happy too.
Okay, last question. What's the new purpose? What are you doing with all this freedom?
What am I doing with this freedom? I think that I am trying to give whatever learnings I've had over my career of 25 years in this industry and help companies be better, help people be better. And I love this industry, so I think that's part of it. I wanted to stay in financial services, financial advice, and help companies be better marketers. I would say that's the business side of it. From a purpose side, I've been, and this is kind of by accident, mentoring a lot of women as they go through transitions in their careers. And that is not something that I set out to do or ever thought I was going to do. But when you start talking to people and you kind of see what certain things that they're evaluating are going through and realize that maybe you can provide them some area of advice or expertise about how to look at it maybe differently, that has been something that's been a really fun thing to do, and I think I've helped a lot of women. So, you know, also to everything around diversity, equity, and inclusion, really, really an important part of what I think needs to happen in this industry. It's something that I've been passionate about for years, and I hope to continue to work on a lot of initiatives that tie back to that.
That's great. Suzanne, it's a great story. It's not ending, it's continuing, and we wish you the best luck. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.